Chapter 31 Reina and Nene, Part 1, R.18, you are listening at novelfull.audio. It was now night, and the time for me to return to the academy had come. Reina and I would go back to the academy, with Reina driving back. Jennifer, Matthew, and Tristan were there sending us a farewell. The family had given me a lot of gifts, and I accepted them all without any guilt. Who doesn't like gifts from wealthy people? 'Cause I love them. Next time you visit will be the wedding, right? Jennifer said that had surprised Matthew and Tristan. Even though I proposed due to money, I didn't know anything about setting up a wedding. So, Jennifer and Reina would be doing everything. Marriage. Matthew and Tristan were silent, unable to comprehend what Jennifer had said. Reina smiled and nodded. With night coming, we said our final goodbye. Do your best, mother.in.law. Goodbye. And with that, Reina drove off. I was pretty tired, but the drive wouldn't take long. Reina was humming happily, driving the car. Don't you feel bad for your Abe Montgomery? He missed your brother's ceremony. I had forgotten about him. Now that we were going back, I would see him more often. Since he would follow Reina, I would have gotten to know him better. If he followed, he would have died. I can't let my Abe die. The old me was fond of him, even with my emotions suppressed. Besides, he wouldn't mind. He has a family back in the academy. I guess that I didn't have to worry about him. For an old man like him, he was someone friendly. Our trip back to the academy was fast. As students with a high ranking, we had priority to enter the academy without any setbacks. Reina and I had split ways. I returned to my home while she did the same with hers. Going back to my place, I could see Nene and the others waiting for me outside the house. Welcome back, Master. Everyone greeted me as I returned. All of them looked at me with admiration. With what I had achieved within the period, news of me spread like fire. Glad to be back. Nene, I will be taking a long bath. Going to my hot tube, Nene followed me. Entering the water, the stress that I had accumulated had washed away. Master. How was your stay in London? Nene was curious about how I did. She hurried over to me and sat on top of my lap. Does she have to do this when I'm trying to relax? Instead of answering her question, I was too focused on her ass rubbing against my crotch. Nene, who noticed this, smiled in delight. Master. You did work hard. As your maid, I should relieve you. Nene then turned around and faced me. With that said, she kissed me on the lips. Who would have thought I would do this to two girls on the same day? While I wasn't what you called experienced in kissing, I wasn't disappointed. Too focused on the kiss, I couldn't tell how long we kissed. Was I going to do it for my first time inside a hot tub? I find it impractical. If we were going to do it, could I move us to the bed? After kissing, Nene's face was flushed red. Even though I didn't do much, I could feel the overflowing lust coming from her. I had heard that animals have mating seasons, but does that apply to Nene? Nene, shouldn't we do this on a bed? Nene was breathing roughly, and the gaze she was making meant that she wasn't going to listen to what I said. Get off, my fiancé. Reina had shown up doing a cock block. I thought she was at her house. What was she doing here? Great, I think she is going to get me blue.bald. Envied it, Master is mine. No, he is mine. Reina also stripped, showing her figure. What is this? Some porn plot. Hey, I'm not complaining, but not only would I do it on a hot tube, but two girls at once. Looking at my fiancé's naked body, she was somewhat lacking in chest size, but her ass and thighs made up for it. So, could we go to bed? I don't feel like doing it here. They have to listen to my one request. If I'm 100% comfortable, the experience will be much better. Nene's mood lessened, and she couldn't help but sigh. Drying me and carrying me to my bed, she pushed me down and started to suck on my dick. This pleasure was something I had never felt before. The wet sensation and her tongue licking everywhere couldn't help but make me shiver. Reina saw some part of me free and sat on top of me. Does she want me to lick her? That was the only thing I could think of. An idea popped into my head, and I started to lick her lower lip. Aha. Her lower body, which was straddling me, started to tighten. With the pleasure heightened and wanting more, she moved her lower body along with my tongue. Nene was still playing with my dick with her mouth and was like a vacuum sucking everything in sight. Even with the size of my penis, she had devoured it completely. More. I couldn't exactly talk with Reina being on top. But her moans are sexy. My tongue was only playing with the outside of her cave. I wonder what will happen once I enter it. And so, without thinking any longer, I did. I regret licking her insides. I wasn't fond of the metallic taste coming out of her. To my regret, Reina was getting it off. The only thing that made it better was Nene sucking me fantastically. And with enough time passing, the load I was going to shoot off had gone all out inside Nene's mouth. I'm going to come. Reina had also cummed from all my licking. With this finished, the first round had finished. And Nene had her mouth off my dick and swallowed everything of my baby essence. Chapter 32 Reina and Nene, Part 2, R.18, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Master. It's time. Sorry, but it's the fiancé's priority to get his virginity. Reina stopped and blocked Nene from going first. Nene, of course, didn't accept it. Why don't we let my master choose first? Okay. Reina had made a lie and sneaked in a quick one and immediately pushed my little brother inside of her. Nene panicked but knew that she couldn't do anything about it. Inside Reina was a different feeling from Nene's mouth. The tightness coming from Reina made it hard to move. Reina winced in pain, having intercourse for the first time. Upon fully entering her, the movement of our body stopped. She closed one eye and let out a pained voice mixed with a tint of pleasure. With her on top, she kissed me and hugged me tightly. I could see Nene on the side, looking frustrated. You can't occupy all of him. Nene got Reina to get up and pushed her breast against my face. Having her chest in front of me, I was curious about how it felt and sucked on it. NNNHM. Nene moaned once my mouth suckled on them. Her nipples were wrapped around my tongue, and savoring her soft melons, I continued to play with it. Reina, who had waited for some of the pain to fade, started to move. With Reina's pussy wrapped around my dick, I moved as well. Master. Do my boobs feel that good? There's more to it. NNHN. Not only was Nene stimulating me, but Reina's movement around her hips started to improve. The pain that Reina felt was slowly replaced with pleasure. I couldn't help but only think about these two. Any other thoughts were unnecessary at the current time. Is this how my mother felt, sleeping with multiple partners? Even though I hate this part of me, the pleasure built up made it impossible for me to give up. NNHN. The voices of these two vibrated the room. Since my hands were free, I used them to touch Nene's lonely but wet cunt. Master. I want you inside me. Without waiting for Reina's turn, she forced Reina out of me. Now that Reina was off of me, Nene got on top instead. Once on top, Nene hurried up and inserted her lower lips inside me. Like Reina, she was also a virgin. Naya. But unlike Reina, she felt no pain. And since there was no pain, Nene moved immediately. My cat maid was much more aggressive in terms of movement. Her instincts in mating were something else. The flow between us was perfect, and with how well she was doing it, I felt myself about to come. Not only was her movement different, but the shape of her insides was also. Even though Reina was tight, Nene used her body to squeeze me with everything she could. I don't want to say Reina was bad at sex, but I think it's a race difference. But an animal in heat was different from a human. Reina, who was to the side, was tearing up. She had tried to get Nene off me, but the difference in strength made it impossible. Naya. MMPHM. So instead of wasting her time, Reina used my mouth to kiss. My remaining hand went inside Reina. Master. I feel it. Release everything inside of me. Doing what Nene had said, all my pent-up baby batter went inside Nene's womb. Reina, enjoying herself with my lips, had a tint of frustration upon seeing what had happened. Using her frustration, the movement of her tongue became more aggressive. After coming immediately, Nene hasn't stopped. My member is still sensitive after releasing my seeds. Master. Your baby batter is so thick. What Nene was doing was clogging up my mind. Reina had stopped kissing me and got Nene to get off of me. It's my turn. The beast inside of me had taken over. With Reina offering herself to me, I pushed her down and started fucking her. Compared to what I had done to her a few minutes ago, the face she was making was drowned in lust. Reina looked at me straight into my eyes. All she could see was me. Dominating her body, Reina's moans had intensified. Nene couldn't stand there and did nothing. It was sad that this was the first time someone wanted me, but I will take it. Nene then sucked on my balls while I took Reina on. The rest of the night, I took turns fucking them both. And by the night's end, Reina and I were exhausted, while Nene was fine. I thought I was going to die with Nene's monstrous stamina. Nene is a different breed of person, literally. Not only is her body different, but her strength is also. Nene, Reina, and I will skip class for the day. After a rough night of sex, I couldn't move. It wasn't just me. Reina, who was beside me, was also resting. Master. What about today's training? I don't think I can move. You were a bit too wild yesterday. Master. You shouldn't blame me. You were too good yesterday. Even when she boldly said so, her face flushed red, remembering last night's event. Now that the three of us had experienced what happened. There will be more in the future. Looking at my status, there were some changes. My ranking, which was 922, changed. After the incident in London, many people died, including the top rankers that had participated. 40 people above me had died, making me the 882 ranks. I also noticed my charm ranking had increased. Does having sex increase one's charm ranking? Even if it does, I doubt my ranking would increase even more by doing it repetitively. Nene was beside me, cleaning the bed. It was somewhere in the evening, and a lot of time had passed. Nene, you could get me something to eat. I'm unable to move. Reina might want some as well. I looked at her and thanked her for doing so. Chapter 33 The Burgess Family's Gift, Part 1, You are listening at novelfull.audio. Resting in bed, I remembered the gift that the Burgess family had given. Reina's family had wrapped the present, so what I got isn't known. Opening the gift from my ring, I got 5 presents. The presents given weren't exactly big, but not it doesn't mean that the gifts weren't good. Starting with the gift that Tristan had given, I unwrapped it and saw what I got. Brother.in.law, I knew reviving you was a good choice. They do say good deeds get rewarded. Or was it the other way around? Well, it doesn't matter, what I got was good. Tristan gave me a watch. And along with the watch, a hologram of Tristan popped out of nowhere. Hello, Charles. It took a while for me to think about how I could repay you. And this was the best thing I could think of. Don't be too disappointed. This watch isn't like any other watch. This message is pre-recorded, so any questions you have won't be answered. Shutting me down with the questions I would ask, I continued listening to Tristan. Anyways, the watch I gave you is one of Burgess's new technologies. Not only could this replace your phone, but also your space rings. Try putting the ring inside of your wristwatch. Upon doing so, the space of your ring will improve by 10 times, impressive, isn't it? 10 times. I paid 50 million, and this watch increased that value by 10 times. $500 million coupled with more features. Worthy of being my brother. Law. Since these wristwatches are newly developed, there may be glitches. But overall, it shouldn't be too harmful. I gave you 2 extra, and I hope you give Reina one of them. Later. Though it was a short introduction, it wasn't hard to navigate. I was looking at Reina. She was latching on me tightly. Listening to Tristan's recording must have woken her up. Are you hurting anywhere? Reina had passed out like me, so she had to be exhausted. I can't move. Even though she is grumpy from the numbness that she is feeling, her clinginess is cute. I still have 4 more presents left, and I intend to show them to Reina's face. Don't worry. Nene is getting us food. And besides, you still owe me a skill. Leveling capsule. I haven't forgotten about that. Reina sighed, seeing how I was. I can't help it. I lived in a poor environment, so I love getting stuff just for the sake of it. Here, I was planning on giving to you yesterday, but who knew that we would have a steamy night? Getting what Reina had got, it was indeed a skill. Leveling capsule. With my fiancé handing me power up, I absorbed it immediately. Skill level up, only skill for this is Target of Misfortune. Target of Misfortune is now at the 3rd level, Target of Misfortune. Rank EX, level 3, this allows the skill to cause misfortune upon the desired user. It can't be removed unless the caster allows it to do so. It could only be used if the target is within 5 kilometers of you. The user is now allowed to remove any misfortune upon anyone. 5 kilometers. But to think that I would get an extra buff with my skill. My skill only allowed me to influence one's misfortune. Now I have complete control over it. My rank, which was 882, is now 425. Wow, more than half of my rank has risen. Not only that, but I'm now first in the ranking skill. Being first, I wanted to celebrate. Reina, the nearest to me, took the brunt of my hug. Reina squealed, not expecting me to do such a thing. Not right now. I'm still too sore. With my hug, Reina had misunderstood what I was doing. Get your mind out of the gutter. Look at my ranking overall and in skill. Reina blushed, misunderstanding the situation. But looking at my rank, her eyes widened in surprise. As expected from my fiancé. I have a sight for men. My fiancé nodded, complimenting herself. That is pretty shameless. I did all the work to achieve this far. Even though I barely did much. But I have to say. My decision is on point. Master. Food is here. Nene, who was getting food for me, has returned. I was getting hungry, and most of the day had already passed. Thinking about it, I had just realized what I had said. Does everyone in the house know what I did? It was already late in the morning. Someone was bound to check up on us during our rest. Since the majority of the servants are girls. It would be awkward to meet any of them in the eye. Nene, look at my rank. I smiled brightly. I'm now the top dog here. Nene, who looked at my rank, was shocked. She had almost dropped the food. Luckily, I reacted fast enough for me to get it. Master. You're amazing. The usual cheerful Nene lost her usual tone. The smile she radiated was one different from a playful one. Master, you are the right choice. Nene had mumbled quietly to the point where I could barely hear what she said. But seeing her meant it was nothing terrible. Nene, did you eat yet? I did it while you were asleep. But eating more isn't a problem. Nene is a glutton. I had forgotten. Nene got a delicately hand-crafted sandwich made by a sweet old granny. Small tits. There are some for you. Small tits. Don't you think that's too much of a low blow? She ruined our alone time, so it's only fair. Small tits. Reina then stared at Nene's chest and compared hers to Nene's. I don't think that would help, but to think Reina would have that much of a complex. You learn something new about these people each day. Taking a bite of a ham sandwich, I couldn't help but think they were tasty. Yum. Chapter 34 The Burgess Family's Gift, Part 2, You are listening at novelfull.audio. After finishing our food, I had to resume opening these presents. What Tristan had gotten me, my hopes of these remaining gifts would be great. Nene, Reina, here is what Tristan gave me. Take it. The 2 remaining wristwatches would be given to them. Guiding them on how to use it wasn't hard. They got the hang of it fairly quickly. Now that the 2 of them had settled with what they had, it was time for me to open my gifts. The next gift I would open would be from Reina's father. Reina, what do you predict your father would give me? I hadn't talked much to Reina's father, so I didn't know much about him. Reina was right beside me, so I asked for her opinion. He's someone who likes safety. So his gift would most likely be some protection. It's never too much to have a protection artifact. Some people have more than 10 protection artifacts for survival. Since Reina had said what I wanted to hear, I opened the gift inside. What my father-in-law gave me was a shape-shifting suit. Well, that's what is said in the note he wrote. Stripping my old outfit, I wore the suit. Imagine the clothes I want to wear would change into whatever I want. How convenient. It would permanently block a quarter of an attack, and the suit won't ever get dirty. Like Tristan's gift, the gift I got from my father-in-law was also convenient. Reina had a distinct look while seeing what I had got. Was she jealous? All the little suffering that I had gone through is now being rewarded. I'm not giving this to you. Ask your dad for one instead. Don't you know, sharing is caring. My fiancée did her best to seduce me. I wasn't so stupid to fall for that. My greed is much higher than I had initially thought. And I doubt it will go away anytime soon. My future wife. If you want to get along with me, I'm a man with boundless greed. I'm possessive with my items. Cheapskate. If it makes you feel better, you're also a possession of mine. Reina looked at me and gasped, stunned by what I had said. Now that I have taken care of that, I want to open the remaining gifts from Jennifer. Master. Flirt with me, too. Nene didn't want to be left out of the conversation, so she jumped in. How strong was she to have that much stamina? Yes, yes. Nene is also mine. I kissed her on the lips and started to open Jennifer's gift. Jennifer had given me 3 of them. 3 times the present means 3 times the fun. Unwrapping the first gift, what mother-in-law gave is a mana vial. If I lack something in the ranking, then it's mana. Mana is a blood talent given by your birth parents. Considering how shitty my parents were on the board, I had also inherited that trait of theirs. I was reading what Reina's mother sent. This was a second world ranking mana upgrading vial. Drinking this vial will increase the quantity of mana that I will have. Without wasting any time, I downed the liquefied mana. I didn't expect drinking mana to have this sweet feeling. The flow of mana had entered my body, and the weak feeling in my lower body had disappeared. I made a full recovery. Congrats, Master. But I'm still sore. Reina muttered, seeing me move ideally. Having mana is like a sixth sense. The air and the sensitivity of my body had increased. It would take a while for me to get used to this feeling. My mana ranked in the billions and was now in the millions. Even though my ranking in mana increased by a long shot, my overall had only improved by 2 ranks up, from 425 to 423. The Burgess family are my most fantastic sponsors, even though they weren't. I wonder when Lindsay will put me to work. I'm not complaining about my free time, but I want more. And for the second gift that Jennifer gave was a third rank body enhancement capsule. The price of this thing is the same as a second rank mana vial. Mana related items are pricey. You'll be sleeping with my daughter a lot. I can't have you weak in bed, so here is a capsule that will increase your stamina. My eyes couldn't help but twitch. Well, she wasn't wrong, but I needed it for Nene. Nene couldn't help but laugh at the note Jennifer sent. In comparison, Reina was embarrassed by the note. Digesting the capsule would take a while, so I will do it later. There is still one final gift, which is smaller than the rest. Opening the gift, it is 2 pairs of rings. Engagement rings. I didn't expect her to send us one. These rings oddly fit both of us, the color silver and a pink heart-shaped gem on the top made it cute. Seeing that there were 2, Reina hurried and took the ring that fit her the most. I thought its ability was over the top for an engagement ring. Every time I sleep with the other pair wearing the ring, my strength increases slightly. Reina, it looks like we'll be doing more later. Let's do it when I'm recovered. Master. I also want a ring like that. Nene said, also wanting an engagement ring similar to the one I'm wearing. I will get you one later, but first, I need to use my body enhancer capsule. Reina, do you need anything before we go? No. I have my watch to entertain myself. Okay. See you later. Bidding Reina a small farewell, Nene and I made it to my bathtub. On our way, I passed by Bella, one of the maids of the house. She was a blushing mess once she met my gaze. I saw how she looked and confirmed that they knew what I did. That I can worry about that later, but it is time for another power up. Chapter 35 The Burgess Family's Gift, Part 3, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Swallowing the capsule made my body sore. The intense feeling was much different from the first rank of body enhancers. Since the first one took at least 4 hours to work, how long would this place take? This potion made me feel like I was exercising for hours without stopping. The cold water I was bathing on was the only thing helping me. Master. Do you need anything? Even though Nene was here, all she could do was be my moral support. Distracting me from this constant draining of my energy would help. The more I talked, the less I wanted to. Nene was thinking something, and from the looks of it, she had an idea. I hope that idea of her makes me feel better. What are you doing? He. Nene stripped and went in the bath with me. I don't think it was clean for her to do so. I was constantly sweating, so all my bath water was full of sweat. With her bright idea, she put my head in between her breasts. It was oddly comforting and her mound of flesh sunk me in. Master. How does it feel? I didn't answer with her breast blocking my way of speaking. What I felt wasn't pain but discomfort. Seeing my sweat and lack of energy, she had some idea about how I felt regarding this. Nene. I'm going to take a recovery potion. Bottling up my drink, I felt some energy returning to me. Even though my energy returned, I still felt like a bum. When will this end? After 5 hours of feeling the most agonized in my entire life, the sapping of my energy had stopped. This isn't what I signed up for when I gained my powers. Nene. I'm so tired. I plopped my head toward her breast and slept like a baby. Opening my eyes, I woke up and saw Nene and Reina next to me. Waking up, I felt more energized than ever. Nene, Reina. Good morning. Good morning to you too. Master. How are you feeling? I got two responses from two different people. Reina gave me a warm good morning while Nene asked if I was okay. Stupid maid, I told you he will be fine. Look at his muscles. It's better than ever. Reina, with her skill, knew I would be fine. She caressed my body, however, she liked to demonstrate that I was okay. Small tits, I'm just worried for Master. Reina, face turned red, angered by what Nene said. She really has a complex about it. I'm fine, Nene. Thanks for asking. To answer your question, it feels like I have been dosed with 10 packs of energy drinks. My ranking had increased from 423 to 395, another significant increase in strength. Was the pain worth it for this strength? Well, yes, it is. I bet I can even rival you in bed now. That showed how confident I was. Nene couldn't help but lick her lips sexily once I said that. But before we could get into the mood to do it, Reina stopped it. We've class today. And today's class is a little special. How do you know? You slept for 2 days. I went to class yesterday. 2 days. I didn't think drinking a potion would make me sleep that much. But since it's a special class day, it wouldn't hurt to join. Let's eat breakfast first, then. After getting up, I went to the dining room. Breakfast was about to start. Everyone eating looked at me, varying from different expressions. Some of the girls were blushing, looking at me, with Aled, his wife, and Rose's eyes widened looking at me. They were shocked by my significant change. My muscles were more defined, and most importantly, my rank had risen significantly since I last saw them. Hello, everyone. I smiled, enjoying the expression on their faces. Good morning, young master and young miss. Montgomery was here and greeted us. Aled and the rest did the same once the experienced butler did so. It's been a while. With that, Aled's wife got us food, and we ate breakfast. After finishing our food, the 4 of us head to class. I was getting the usual look when I arrived at class. The students here really like to look at me. I can't blame them when I'm cheating in life. Reina, how does the stare of many jealous females feel? Before Reina and I got engaged, the rumors of us being engaged had already spread. Reina, you sneaky girl, had this plan from the start. But now she will get a bite in the ass because of it. Is that so? I haven't noticed. Some of the boys nearby listening to our conversation couldn't help but laugh while the girls gave Reina the stink eye. Our teacher Mr. Trek entered the class and looked me in the eyes. He couldn't help but be shocked, just like the other students looking at my rank. Sighing at this, he shook his head and went to his desk. Doing what he needed to do, he started the class. Good morning, everyone. As you have heard, we'll be doing a re-examination. A re-examination? For what? I then looked at the teacher, and he continued to talk. This re-examination may be brutal to some students, but the government here wants to see your true potential. During this whole week, some of you may be expelled from this school. Well, that turned this room cold. I wasn't worried since this exam was weeding out everyone taking space in the academy. Reina is also competent enough to get by for the exam. Nene and Montgomery aren't students, so that they would be with us no matter what. This exam will eliminate 5% of the students attending, and once you get expelled, there is no coming back. 5%. That is a lot of students, but I didn't know the exact amount. The government is serious about letting go of so many students. Chapter 36 School Examinations, Part 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Don't think of this as a punishment but an opportunity. While the people at the bottom will be expelled, those at the top will be rewarded with prizes worthy of your performance. Ever since I got my skill, the word reward has been everywhere. Is this what it feels like to be lucky? Maybe gods do exist. And to prevent Reina and me from being unlucky, I had always set my skill on us to have 0 misfortune value, which means that we will never be unlucky. After this examination, the school itself will create its rank. The overall ranking will be irrelevant since not everything in the overall ranking is useful in this school. The higher you score, the more privilege you will get. There are about 80,000 students in this school. That means 4,000 of the students here will be eliminated. 80,000. That is a lot of students, and for 4,000 to be gone is a pity. But a new ranking system. How will it work for me? My skill is my only asset, but how will I use that to help me? I find it too dangerous to use my skill unless I kill the students here. I haven't tested my skill enough to use it to its fullest. So, I'm a little worried. For the first test, you'll fight monsters from another world. And to make it fair, you'll be fighting monsters with the same strength as you. Your exam will begin in 20 minutes. Use this time to get ready. The teacher went out a bit, with some students leaving to do some last-minute preparations. I didn't need anything since everything was on my watch. Do you need anything before we start? No, like you, I have everything on me. Sometimes I think she reads my mind. But seeing that we had everything ready, we waited for the test. And just like that, 20 minutes had passed. Everyone who had run off came back, and the time for us to begin our exam began. Now that everyone is here, we will head to the gym. With these 20 minutes, I hope you used your time wisely. Get up and follow me. We'll head to the gym now. Following the teacher, it was weird. There were about 100 teachers, and with all of us here, we formed a large crowd. Not only a large crowd was formed in our class, but the others as well. Some people around my class were trying to get to know me, but with most of them having motives, it was hard to speak politely. Reina. How do you deal with this? I muttered, only to be heard by her and our aide. You'll get used to it. You have to. After all, you're engaged to me. Reina smiled cutely, but to me, it was cruel. What she said is correct. I would have to get used to this. Not only will I marry someone from a famous family, but my overall ranking would get my attention even without wanting to. It didn't take us long to arrive at the gym. But man, this place was huge. This place was like 3 times the size of my mansion. The teacher from every class was getting everyone sorted. It didn't take long before a hologram above the air started to pop up. Good day, everyone. I'm Aaron, and I'm the principal of this school. Aaron is a man with curly dirty blonde hair. His eyes are blue, and with his glasses, he sure looks like a movie villain. You have already heard what your teacher said, and what they said is true. Our sponsors want this school to create an elite group, not wasting time on people without much potential. Anyways, all of you'll be fighting once. And all of you will be scored by how you fight. Killing or knocking down the monster faster will give you a higher score, and losing will lower your score. 1 battle. That's less than I thought. Considering that there are about 80,000 students, it would take a while for everyone to finish. But how long would it take for us to fight? Nene, could you buy me some snacks? I got the feeling that we'll be watching the fights of many students. And I need something to do to pass the time. Will do, Master. Montgomery, could you also get me something if that is your wish? Nene then ran off with Reina's aide and left Reina and me there. With how big the place is, everyone here made themselves comfortable. The bright side is that we'll see how everyone would fight. I know this may be late to ask, but do you know how to fight? During the attack, all Reina did was run. I haven't seen any of her combat abilities. It would be worrying if she didn't know how to. I might not be insanely overpowered, but I can hold my ground. My worry would be pointless if she were confident enough to say that. With the match beginning, 50 students started the test immediately. They were transported to a different place and were in an arena. Looking at how the students fought, most were reasonably even in terms of power. This would be a suitable training device seeing how the monsters are even. The only way to win this fight is to overcome your limits. Looking at everyone fighting, talents of a different kind could be shown. While they weren't experts, most of them here have some capability showing that they deserve to be here. The actual rate of this exam is approximately 80%. Most people had won but were drained from using most of their stamina. People who won quickly were exceptional, while those who lost were beaten up. I wonder how the monster will be matched against me. Will they have an overpowered skill like me? The thought brought shivers to my mind. Chapter 37 School Examination, Part 2, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Aaron POV, what do you mean that our sponsors want results? Our school is already the best of the best. Most of the top rankers are students of our academy from the past. Listening to the director, my head started to hurt. With the recent invaders, our sponsors want to improve the younger generation's strength quickly. While the academy is doing good, we've to do better. What all of us want is an elite group worth grooming. We can't relocate all the resources to students who don't perform. That's why the sponsors and I will change our academy. I sighed, listening to the director. Knowing him, he won't change his mind once he puts his thought into it. Then what do you suggest we do? Since there was no arguing with him, all I could do was go with his plan. Talking back to your superiors is someone no one would ever do. We'll create a new ranking system that isn't concerned about the overall ranking. Doesn't that defeat the purpose of the ranking system? Our academy prides itself on having students of a higher overall ranking. Our ranking system will be based on competence. We don't need rubbish to take up the spots in the ranking board. In a few days, we'll do a re-examination. For this examination, we'll test all of the students' capabilities. We'll reward the top 20% of students while expelling 5%. 5% isn't that too much? What will the parents of the student say? Why would we need their opinion? If they aren't performing well, then that's on them. They can't do anything to us. He wasn't wrong, but their complaints will go to my ears. Why is this job so hard? I need a vacation. Then what'll we be doing for these tests? The most common one would be a battle, but I doubt that's all the sponsors want. Thinking back about what the director said, I can't help but hope that the new items implemented will be a bright idea. The students for today will be engaged in a fight against a projection of a monster that will be the same strength as them. This is the best way for students to improve and to see if they have any talent to fight. If they can't beat a challenge like this, then I can hope that they have talent somewhere else. As the academy's principal, seeing how well most of the students are doing couldn't help but make me proud. About 80% of them had passed. Looking at one of the students, I could instantly recognize him. Charles Anderson. His rank couldn't help but be a surprise to me. Wasn't he on the 1000th rank when he joined the academy a week ago? He is now ranked 395 and would get under the 100th rank in no time. His fight was about to start, and I couldn't help but wonder what monster he would face. The monster he will fight wouldn't destroy the dimension, right? What Charles was matched against was a zombified dragon. The thought of Charles sending an undead monster to hell was a sight. But instead of Charles doing that, something else happened. Instead, the zombie dragon started to decay, and the rotting body started to come off. Turning into a skeleton dragon, the dragon screeched loudly, and the bones around it started to fall off. Without doing anything, Charles won the fight. Wasn't Charles' skill summoning? But seeing how he defeated the monster, it was something else. I wonder what his skill is. His powers are a mystery for someone being first in the ranking regarding the skill. Brave Academy hopes that talented people like Charles will become stronger. That is what our sponsors and Academy are striving for. Charles POV, seeing a zombie dragon for the first time is an exciting experience. The aura from this thing wasn't a joke. I would have been destroyed if I had seriously fought this thing. I then used my skill, Target of Misfortune, instead of sending the monster to hell. The dragon's magic malfunctioned, and with that, the monster killed itself. With me defeating the dragon instantly, my ranking should be at least first. Coming back from practicing on my test subject, I could see everyone looking at me. They didn't know how I defeated the monster, but with how quickly I did it, some of them couldn't believe their eyes. Everyone who saw my battle was commenting about it. Sometimes being too good would cause me too much attention. Finding my way back to my Reina, Nene, Montgomery, how did you like my performance? I boasted, making all three of them smile. Nene clapped and couldn't help but be amazed at how I easily defeated a strong monster. Reina and Montgomery were more composed, seeing that I won easily. Now that I had finished my exam, it was Reina's turn. But who knows how long it would take for her to start. Snacking on food and watching everyone fight was an excellent time to pass. One person who I had watched particularly interested me. A girl by the name of Kate Davila had impressive skills. Her skill allows her to command any living thing. It was scary if appropriately used. It was a skill that would warrant a lot of fear. Being able to control one body without permission is a scary thing. For me, this kind of match up was even. If I cursed her first, I would win. But if she could control me first, I'll lose. Nay. Let's buy an artifact that won't have some people affect our mind. Yes, Master. Watching some of these fights made me realize how many skills there are. Some skills would threaten me, while most would be harmless. After watching a lot of fights, it was finally Reina's turn. Good luck, don't need it. I know I'm going to win. Reina smiled confidently and walked toward the stage, and the battle for her was about to begin. Chapter 38 School Examination, Part 3, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Third-person POV, Reina then walked up to the stage. From the looks in her eyes, she had expected that she would win. Arriving at the stage for her battle, Reina prepared to fight. Reina's opponent was a giant bat. The bat had two razor-sharp teeth capable of draining the blood of anyone it sank its teeth into. Without any hesitation, Reina started to fight. Reina's weapon of choice is a rapier, one fitting of a noblewoman. Calm as water, Reina waited for the bat to attack. Creating a high-frequency screech, the shockwave around Reina pushed her back for a few steps. After the screech, the bat then attacked, flying toward her. The speed of the bat would catch most people off guard. But Reina had expected it. With her predictability, she had dodged it with ease. Not only did Reina dodge the attack coming from the bat, but she made a counterattack. Her rapier had stabbed and made a hole in one for the bat's wing. Losing some of its flight ability, the movement of the bat became shaky. Even so, Reina didn't charge in. From how she fights, she would mostly do a counterattack as her primary strategy. Having the advantage, Reina didn't let it get to her head. She marked her target, waiting for every opportunity to strike. The bat used another screech attack to regain its standing, trying to get Reina off guard. But even so, Reina stood still. Seeing that its attack didn't do much, this time, the bat went a little quicker, trying to take a bite out of Reina. And for the final attack, making a hole into the bat's forehead, it died without much struggle. Reina quickly finished the fight and relaxed. It was easier than I expected. This fight didn't pose much of a threat. How do people even lose? To the people who heard what she said, the losers of each fight couldn't help but be pissed. While people that had nearly cleared it would only give a weary smile. Anyways, what Reina had said had given a lot of reactions to the crowd. Charles POV, nice, you made the fight look easy. It was easy. I don't know how some of these people are even losing. They shouldn't be here if they can't beat a challenge like this. Whoa, ruthless. But what she said is correct. This academy is for the best of the best. We can't have talentless people take up space. Anyways, let's leave. Watching for hours made me tired. Master. What will we do next? Nene, who was behind me, hugged me around my waist. For her to do this in public is something bold. Let's get lunch. We haven't had a burger in a while. Reina, Montgomery want to join. With Reina's previous bland personality, I doubt she had ever eaten a burger. So why not use the chance to do it now? A sandwich. No, a burger. The burger tastes better. Have you seriously never tried one before? I was joking when I said she never ate something like a hamburger. Even in my shitty old life, I had eaten it at least once. But to think a wealthy person like her has never tried it. Nene. Don't you think it's sad? Master. To think small tits never eat a hamburger. Don't pity me. And you stupid cat, don't call me that. To think young miss would have such lovely friends. I'm so proud. After leaving the school building, we walked around to find good fast food to eat. On our way, a man blocked my path. Charles, is that you? Who the fuck are you? The way he talked pissed me off for some reason. He acted pretty condescending and acted as if he knew me. But looking at him, I didn't know him. Don't you remember me? Well, it has been 4 years. I'm Luis. Your friend from middle school. It took me a while to remember who he was. His wild look changed into someone pretty stylish. There was a significant difference from his previous look. I always knew that he was an idiot, but for him to be cocky facing me. Giving him a greeting, I punched him in the face, making him fly backward. And after punching him, I gave him 1% of my curse. This fucker thinks he could show up before me and act like that. Master, is that alright? Don't worry. This is how we greeted one another during school. Nene somewhat knew about my past. Knowing what I meant, she looked amused at the man's face planted to the ground. You didn't kill him, right? He twitched a bit, so I doubt he's dead. I didn't care whether he died or not. But since he had the nerve to show up, I got to take the chance to beat him up. What was that for? He groaned in pain, wondering why I did that. I couldn't help but twitch my eyes hearing him say that. This motherfucker was one of the people that picked on me during my days as a child. Of course, I was going to beat the shit out of him. Isn't this our greeting? Besides, what do you want? My companions and I are getting lunch. Now that I see this piece of shit, my mood couldn't be worse. To think that a bully of mine would be crushed just like an ant. There were cases of people bullying one another before one turn at 18. And once they have aged for the system to count. The cases of a victim killing the bully are pretty standard. That's why bullying is rare in this day and age. 'Cause no one wants the target to get revenge on them just in case the victim has a higher talent than them. The shit stain in front of me is lucky that I didn't outright kill him. Maybe not, since I had cursed him. But I couldn't help but wonder what his life would be like in the next few days. Chapter 39 The Taste of Misfortune. You're listening at novelfull.audio. So Luis, what do you want? Since he had stopped me, he should at least want something. The bruise on his face started to show, and he looked at me angrily. Even though he was angry, it was not like he could do anything to me. I could step on him all I wanted, and he could do nothing about it. Nothing. I wanted to greet you once for old time's sake. Did he want to waste my time? I could have already started eating a hamburger with Nene, Reina, and Montgomery. An idea popped into my head once I thought of something fun. Since I have cursed him, he should make great use of a source of entertainment. Is that so? My companions and I were about to get some hamburgers. Do you want to join? Everyone was shocked that I had invited him. After all, I had just punched him in the face, which was satisfying. Nene realized what I had done and couldn't help but giggle, also entertained by the idea. Luis, seeing me propose that idea, looked skeptical. Sure, I could get something to eat and catch up with my old friend. The anger that he had earlier left was quickly replaced with a smile. He was always a man with two apparent faces. Not only did he like to bully people, but he also sucked up people in a better position than him. Now that I'm the top dog, he can't help but try to suck up to me. I might give him a little gift if he entertains me well enough. The five of us then walked into a random burger store. I saw that my curse wasn't as good as I thought. I increased the power from 1% to 5%. With the increase in power, misfortune for Luis started to kick in. Once we entered a store that sold burgers, a drink that someone spilled landed on Luis's crotch. I'm sorry. No, it's fine. This isn't bothering me too much. The one spilling the drink onto him was a lady in an office suit. With her apologizing, Luis turned into a simp. Yikes, what happened to him? Did my punch damage his brain? The woman grabbed a tissue paper and started to wipe his wet area. What are you making my wife do? A scream was heard, and a man ran toward the said wife. And appearing in front of his wife, he slapped the shit out of Luis. Rosie, are you alright? He didn't do anything bad to you, right? I couldn't help but chuckle at the sight. The misfortune was now working perfectly, just as I intended for it to do. Chaz. I poured my drink all over him. But you went overboard to hit him. But Rosie, I just wanted to protect you. Listening to their loving atmosphere made me want to butt in. But before I could do so, Luis got back up and yelled at the man named Chaz. Hey! What the fuck is that for? To get revenge, Luis grabbed a chair nearby and smashed it on Chaz's head. Luis is stronger than the man Chaz who made his head bleed. Chaz! His wife screamed in horror, trying to stop the bleeding from his head. The crowd nearby looked shocked by what happened and watched closely. But Luis didn't stop after that hit with the chair. He went toward him and kicked him in the stomach. Stop. I didn't have a hero complex, but this was partly my fault. I grabbed Luis on the shoulder, prompting him to stop. Luis was still pissed. He was going to lash out at me but stopped at the last second. Wanting to vent his anger, he left without saying anything. Thank you. Rosie thanked me from the bottom of her heart. She repeated it many times but remembered how to hurt her husband. Here, take this. I handed Rosie a recovery potion to fix up her husband's condition. She fed it to Chaz immediately, and Chaz's pale complexion started to heal. Let's get something to eat. I didn't want to wait for the woman. We came here to eat in the first place. But before we could do so, something happened outside. The police arrived and had Luis cuffed. Someone had called the police once Chaz's head had almost bled out. Unhand me. I didn't do anything wrong. It was self-defense. Luis trying his best to resist arrest wasn't going to help him. I didn't want to waste energy trying to help him, so I stood there. Charles, isn't he your friend? Where did she get that idea? I punched him in the face. Even with her predictability, her emotional cues need improvement. Friend. I think you misunderstood something. I despised him. Then why did you invite him? I don't understand. Why did I invite him? It's because I wanted to piss him off repetitively. He was a source of entertainment, that was all. Reina had misunderstood that we were friends. Nene knew that I had some dislike toward him, while Montgomery noticed something off. Small tits. That's why you need more friends. Some people could have made fun of you without knowing. Nene liked to make comments about Reina. What a good friend she is. Now that nothing was going to happen, it was time for food. Nene bought a lot, just like last time. Everyone here knew of Nene's appetite, so they weren't bothered by how much she ordered. With Reina grabbing her first bite, everyone around the table stared at her. She was bothered by this but knew that saying anything wouldn't work. Taking the first bite, we waited for her to swallow her food. Reina's face brightened once she tasted the food. Is it good? It's better than I expected. We should eat these more often. For once, I agree with you. Eating our food, everyone here was having a good time. Luis, who was confined by the police, was forgotten in an instant. This is the life I strive for. Chapter 40 SS. A Master's Delicious Meal, R.18, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Nay POV, Master. Waking up in the arms of my master couldn't make things better. His scent smells fantastic, as usual. He is currently still asleep, using me as a body pillow. Small tits are sleeping beside him, but my womanly charm couldn't be matched. Master has a test today, but before he gets ready for it, it's my duty as his mate to make him do his best. Both of us are already naked, rubbing my body against him. I felt his manly stick rise. Seeing his little brother active, my body couldn't help but heat up. I remember the first time I experienced it. It was something I didn't think I could forget. Looking at small tits, I could have hugged my master to myself if she didn't show up. Master's body moved as I played with him. Getting his arms off me, I couldn't help but move my face toward his lower body. Opening my mouth, I took everything inside my mouth. Playing with his penis was almost like an instinct of mine. I don't know if it is related to my race, but I don't mind it. The heat coming off of him made me warm. Licking him cleanly, the eyes of my master started to open. Nay. Surprised by what had happened, he looked at me with widened eyes. Even when I could not see his face, I could tell he was enjoying it. I shoved my pussy right at his face and made him pleasure me. The moment he did, my body tingled. My tongue that was moving around his penis had stopped. Even knowing he would please me, the feeling of being touched inside was still too much of a stimulant. Getting a grip on myself, I moved my tongue along with him. Pleasuring ourselves in this lust, I felt my master's dick hardening more by the second. It felt good. Not only did it feel good, but it was fun as well. My mind was occupied with this pleasure, and the stiffness master had reached an all-time maximum. He then groaned and released his white seed. The load he gave out was thick and had a slightly bitter mixed with a sweet taste. This was something I could get used to. Swallowing everything he shot off, I licked everything off his dick and got my head off it. Master. Let's start the real thing. You sure are a horny kitty, aren't you? Master smirked while looking at me like I was a piece of meat. I was only supposed to stop there, but my body wouldn't allow me. The tingly feeling around my lower body wanted more. Master. A naughty kitty like you should be punished. Naya. Master responded with a grab of my tail. I couldn't help but yelp due to his sudden movement. Then pushing me down on the bed with my body face to the bed, he started to lick me on my ears. Not only did he have a hold of my tail, but with him licking my ears, all my body lost its strength. NHH. With our position set in place, Master, being on top, started to mate with me from behind. The bed started to shake, and my mind and my body were feeling the start of something new. Beside us, Master's supposed wife was already awake and started to masturbate. Since she wasn't planning on interfering with me, I would be nicer to her. Nah. The lewd slapping noise could be heard around the room. Even though we had just started, Master's movement was already hard and fast. His thick rod was devouring me with each second. This abyss of pleasure couldn't be felt anywhere else. Naya. I'm a slave to his cock. Being played from behind made him reach everywhere inside my body. His movement was fast and strong, and the spot he hit was perfect. We only started to mate for a few minutes, and I felt the muscles around my lower lips begin to contract. Master. I feel it. I'm coming. The tension around my body started to release, making me feel satisfied. Even so, Master continued to move. Like him, it still wasn't enough. We weren't going to be satisfied with one shot. My body, which was more sensitive than usual due to my coming, was still plowing. The stiffness of his cock inside me indicated that he would come for the second time. Naya. Master. Breed me more. Don't worry. I have more. Of this. I'm coming. Nya. Master's white liquid flooded my womb. This warm feeling inside me couldn't help but make me, please. It didn't take long for Master to move again. His dick, which was still inside me, was hardening again. As my mate, our body was utterly compatible. I don't think I could ever live anymore without the feeling of his touch. This addictive feeling will always be a remembrance of what I want. Before I could have an orgasm for the second time, small tits stopped us from having more. Charles, stupid cat. We have an exam later today. I can't afford to have you fail because you're too tired from having sex. Small tits, you did this on purpose. You knew I would have an orgasm and stopped at last minute. I have no idea what you're talking about. I couldn't help but grumble silently. This pent-up feeling made me uneasy. I swear, I would get my revenge. Small tits, watch your back. You win this round, but don't think I will forget this. Since the three of us are awake, I should prepare for the day. Edna should be awake by now, preparing breakfast. I needed to check on her and her husband, ensuring they were awake. But before I do that, I should clean myself up. I don't mind having Master's stench on me, but I doubt he would like it. This is how I start my day. I wonder if anything will happen today.